What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be reacting to Mel Kiper Jr.'s Mock Draft 2.0. We're going to talk about some of the trades that he had going on in this draft, some of the selections that we agree with and disagree with, all that and much more coming your way right now. All right, Nick. Well, we have Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft 2.0 with trades. So he is projecting trades out here. And listen, we took a look at this, and overall, it's not that bad. It's definitely not as bad as Daniel Jeremiah's was. But I think we should jump right into it. And first, overall, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock, and he has them taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, there's nothing really to talk about here. We all know it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. This is locked and loaded. Urban Meyer loves this guy. Nothing else to see here.
No, I think we can move on from this. At number 2 comes our first, quite a bit, trades in the first round. The Falcons make a deal to get their quarterback. Essentially, Atlanta moves up 2 spots from 4 to 2. They send the Jets number 4 and likely its second round picks this year and possibly some back end picks either next year or so on and so forth. It's a lot to give up to move up 2 picks, but they are guaranteeing that they get their guy. Mel Kiper has the Atlanta Falcons trading up to get Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because the Atlanta Falcons, they have Matt Ryan. They still have another 2 to 3 years left of him before he calls it quits. And you're moving up 2 spots to guarantee you're getting Zach Wilson, which to me, Justin Fields is a better quarterback. I know you don't feel the same. You think Zach Wilson could be the next Patrick Mahomes, but I think that this is a waste of a move up. You're in prime position to get the third best quarterback, or arguably the third best quarterback in this draft, and I think that Justin Fields is just as good as Zach Wilson. I don't know what you're really gaining here. What you're giving up is totally not worth it.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would make this move. Sitting at number 4, they had a very good shot, and it doesn't seem like the Miami Dolphins are looking to draft a quarterback. It's come out of Miami that they're sticking with Tua unless they move on to Deshaun or Russell Wilson. So at this point, it really looks like Miami's not drafting another quarterback. Yeah, you don't really have to worry about these teams trading back either because Miami has some specific needs. The Jets have needs as well. And listen, they may end up taking Zach Wilson if the Falcons don't trade with them, but I highly doubt it. And I've even projected that Penny Sewell goes at number 2 just because I don't believe I don't believe the Jets are going to end up with a new quarterback. I think they're going to be building around Sam Darnold. So I don't think the Falcons have too much to worry about. I believe that this trade doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Either way, I believe that the Falcons will end up with the quarterback they want, whether it is Zach Wilson or Justin Fields.
For sure.
All right, we move on to number 3, and we have the Miami Dolphins at getting Devonta Smith, wide receiver from Alabama, pairing him up with Tua Tagovailoa, who they got from Alabama last year.
I really like Devonta Smith. I truly believe he's the best wide receiver in the draft. I know some people have Jamar Chase going here, but I think Devonta Smith showed you that he's got everything that it takes, and he did it without Jalen Waddle last year, so you know that he can handle the number 1 role all by himself. He doesn't need the help on the other side of the field. He's going to be perfectly fine in the NFL, and I think that he's going to be a huge weapon for the Miami Dolphins opposite Devontae Parker. I love this pick very, very much.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people have Jamar Chase here. I like Devonta Smith here because he is the opposite of what you have in Devontae Parker. And if you have Devonta Smith and Devontae Parker, you have a nasty 1-2 combination with Mike Gesicki in the middle of the field. You have all three levels of the defense on their heels because there's nobody in this league that is fully built from head to toe on defense. Maybe outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Indianapolis Colts, even they have some question marks. I believe that if they get Devonta Smith at number 3, it's going to be lights out for this offense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to number 4, where now the New York Jets will be picking with that trade that they had from Atlanta, where they take Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. And listen, I like Kyle Pitts. I think he is Darren Waller 2.0. I think he's a better version of what Aaron Hernandez was supposed to be. I
Chico?
truly
Oh my
believe
god.
I honestly
Disrespect.
truly believe that Kyle Pitts is one of the greatest talents we have in this draft. And only time will tell, right? Only time will prove me right because as I've been right with the last few drafts, I, Kyle Pitts has shown that he can do it all. He looks like a wide receiver at the tight end position that also excels at pass blocking. It's absolutely incredible. And this guy going to the New York Jets is going to provide the security blanket that they need for Sam Darnold to feel comfortable in this offense for the first time since he's been drafted to the Jets.
This is the most ridiculous decision I've ever seen. Even Mel Kiper should know Kyle Pitts is nowhere near worth being a top 5 pick. He has a potential ceiling of being Darren Waller, but he's not going to be. He's going to be Noah Fant 2.0. He's not that good. He is going to be no better than he has been at Florida. This is as good as it gets for him, and I think that this is a complete waste. If the Jets draft him at number 4, this is the biggest Jets move I would ever have seen. This is the Jets jetting, and dude, this is ridiculous. I laughed when I saw this. I laughed so hard. Kyle Pitts is just not worth this. The Jets have so many other needs that they need to fill with this pick. This is just so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the only other option I would have gone with here is Penny Sewell, who I had the Jets drafting anyway in our mock draft. He's still on the board. They need to solidify this offensive line. They have Mekhi Becton on the left side, and then they have 4 question marks next to him. Why not get another bookend and really seal this thing down? Really make sure that Sam Darnold feels protected back there, and so he's never seeing ghosts again. That's my only concern with this. Otherwise, I'm fine with Kyle Pitts going here. I truly believe in his talent. He's a 6'6" monster. This guy's going to be incredible. There has never ever been a tight end drafted this high. He could end up being the first. All right, let's move on to pick number 5, where we have the Cincinnati Bengals sitting there. And listen, they get their guy. They get the guy they wanted all along, Penny Sewell. It just seems like in most of these mock drafts, they have the Bengals getting the guy that they wanted all along. Penny Sewell is an incredible pass blocker, incredible run blocker. He's obviously the top rated offensive lineman in this draft. It might not be the sexiest pick, but it is the pick that they need to make.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what they wanted for. We always thought that Penny Sewell was going to be the number 2 pick for whoever was there. And now the Bengals get the luxury of drafting him at number 5. So Joe Burrow's got to be excited about this. The entire Bengals front office got to be excited. Penny Sewell is going to shore up that right side, and they're going to be sitting pretty for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It just protects your franchise who you invested so much in last year, who obviously got hurt because that offensive line let some pressure through. And this'll help seal that deal for the at least next 5 to 6 years. All right, moving on to picks number 6 through 10, we have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Jamar Chase, the wide receiver out of LSU. At number 7, we have the San Francisco 49ers trading with the Detroit Lions. Coming up to select Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. We have the Carolina Panthers at number 8 taking Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. And then you have the New England Patriots at number 9 trading up with the Denver Broncos to grab quarterback Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. And the Dallas Cowboys rounding out the top 10 with cornerback Patrick Surtain, the second corner out of Alabama. Nick, what are your thoughts on these 5 picks?
I mean, you have two massive trades here. The Niners moving up to draft Justin Fields. I love this. I think this is very a viable shot at happening. This is probably the best option for the Niners is to try to move up to give whatever it takes to get Justin Fields. I really believe Justin Fields will work extremely well in that 49ers system with Kyle Shanahan. This would be a match made in heaven. And then we have the Patriots trading up to get Trey Lance after Justin Fields and Mac Jones are drafted. Trey Lance going fifth, having Mac Jones go before him, that's an interesting one. But Trey Lance with the Patriots, we just saw Cam Newton in his move on from Carolina with Bill Belichick, and it didn't seem to work, but that could have been because of Cam's limitations or just a bad offseason. I don't know if Trey Lance is going to work well in the Patriots system as much as I would like it to, just because they have been so used to a pocket passing quarterback in Tom Brady for the last 20 years that it's going to take them some time to get used to a running quarterback, a mobile quarterback. And Trey Lance is the most mobile quarterback out of all of these quarterbacks. He is not a pocket passer whatsoever. I just think this is a complete 180 from what you're used to, and I'm not a big fan of it. Moving back to Mac Jones, having him drafted before Trey Lance is absolutely absurd. Mac Jones is the least athletic quarterback in this draft class. He has not much to offer, and especially in Matt Rule's system where he has PJ Walker and Teddy Bridgewater right now, two very mobile quarterbacks. Why would they ever want to draft a guy like Mac Jones?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to run through it real quickly. Jamar Chase with the Philadelphia Eagles, banger option. I mean, the Eagles need a wide receiver and Jalen Hurts needs a weapon. Perfect. Perfect scenario. The San Francisco 49ers coming up to draft Justin Fields. I don't understand this. From what I understand, they have already said that they want and expect Jimmy Garoppolo to take the first snaps under center week 1. So for them to come up and draft a quarterback number 7 doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Carolina Panthers with Mac Jones, you laid it out perfectly. Makes zero sense, especially with Trey Lance on the board. If they're going to go for a quarterback, they're going to go with a quarterback that makes more sense for their offense. Trey Lance is still available. Why not go for him? I'm going to take a look at number 9 with the New England Patriots. Again, Trey Lance not making sense here with New England. If they're looking at a quarterback, if they're going to move up, it's going to be Kyle Trask. It's going to be Mac Jones. It's going to be one of those pocket passers that are, can develop under Josh McDaniels' offense and really work the precision passing technique that he provides. And then at number 10, we have the obvious answer. The Dallas Cowboys shore up that defense with Patrick Surtain. Perfect scenario for both the player and the team. They get a guy that they absolutely need. Moving on to picks 11 through 15, we have the New York Giants selecting wide receiver Jalen Waddle out of the University of Alabama. We have the Detroit Lions taking linebacker Micah Parsons coming out of Penn State. The Chargers taking Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman from Northwestern. The Minnesota Vikings taking Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive tackle slash guard coming out of UFC. And the Denver Broncos with Caleb Farley, corner from Virginia Tech. Nick, what are your thoughts on these 5 picks?
This is absolutely amazing. I very much so expect this to play out the way Mel Kiper has it. Jalen Waddle will fit perfectly with the Giants. I think that'll work. Micah Parsons is the best linebacker in the draft, bar none, and they need so much help, so why not go get the best defensive player to help fix that defense? Rashawn Slater would fit perfectly in Los Angeles with the Chargers. They need to shore up that offensive line. They already got Brian Bulaga last year. He's locked up on that right side. Rashawn Slater's going to lock up the left side, and Justin Herbert's going to be sitting pretty for the next 10 to 15 years. So I love that. Elijah Vera Tucker, this is the one where I have a little bit of an issue because I understand you want to shore up that offensive line. You want Dalvin Cook to run as good as he has been, and you want Kirk Cousins to work as well as he can. But why not fix the defense? This is where you have so many issues. You're not going to succeed if you don't get better weapons on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't understand why you wouldn't go after a guy like Caleb Farley, who's on the board at this point, or a defensive end. None of them have gone so far. So I don't understand that much, but you know what? Elijah Vera Tucker, it's not the worst pick in the world. And then Caleb Farley, this is the guy they should be drafting at number 9. So this is a guy who falls right into their lap at 15. They get additional picks on top of the guy they wanted. Couldn't play out any better for the Denver Broncos.
Absolutely. Jalen Waddle. it makes sense, that they could utilize his skill set, but I believe that, focusing on this defensive line and going after a guy like Micah Parsons or even Greg Rousseau here would make a lot more sense for the Giants. I believe that they're a lot more defensive focused right now. The addition of Saquon Barkley, even though he's not a new player to this team, is going to help them tremendously just coming back from injury. I don't believe that they need to go Jalen Waddle. I think you're overdoing it with the amount of weapons. It's just adding to a treasure trove that you already have. The Detroit Lions with Micah Parsons, though, absolute perfect fit. They really need to build this defense. He's going to be the field general for them. He's going to get a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles for loss. He's going to be a very disruptive force. He's going to be a pain in the side of Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins for years to come. It's going to be incredible for the Detroit Lions to start building up this team. The Los Angeles Chargers, I like Rashawn Slater. It makes sense here. It's going, he is the number 2 rated offensive lineman, and I like him here with the Chargers. You got to protect your franchise, what you saw everything last year with Justin Herbert. Just stop, keep him off the ground. That's all you got to do. Invest a pick right here. Northwestern's Rashawn Slater. Minnesota Vikings, Vera Tucker. I'm with you 100%. Greg Rousseau's still on the board. Might as well go with him. Christian Barmore is still there, the most athletic defensive tackle in this draft. And then obviously Caleb Farley's still there. They could have gone with him. So I would like them to go defense here. And then lastly, the Denver Broncos, like you said, they get the guy they wanted at number 9 anyway. So it makes sense to make this trade with New England where they get number 15 and they still get the guy that they wanted. It's absolutely incredible. Caleb Farley falls to number 15 with the Denver Broncos and starts building up that secondary that got decimated over the last season. All right, moving on to 16 through 20, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking J.C. Horn, corner out of South Carolina. We have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Trevon Moehrig, safety out of TCU. At number 18, the Miami Dolphins taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker out of Notre Dame. The Washington football team at 19 taking Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. And number 20, Chicago Bears taking Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for JC Horn to go. It's got to be the back end to the first round, and he meets that criteria right here at 16. I think he'll be a good fit in Arizona. I think he'll replace Patrick Peterson well. It might take him some time, but I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. Trayvon Moehrig, who is one of the best safeties in college. I think this is a reach, and this is why it's perfect for Las Vegas because they're always reaching for players. And I think that it would be a good fit with him and Jonathan Abrams shoring up the secondary, but you still have LaMarcus Joyner there, so I don't exactly know why you would want to go safety here. So this is an interesting one. I'm not completely sold on it, but I could be. At number 18, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I love this kid. I think he's going to be amazing one day. But you already have Jerome Baker in the middle of the field with Landon Roberts and Kyle Van Noy on the outside. If you want Owusu-Koramoah in a 3-4 package, he's going to play the edge with KVN moving inside or Landon Roberts moving inside, but this is only one package. You're not going to have him out there in a 3-4 package, so he's limited usage on the defensive side of the ball for the next few years until one of their veteran players is up for a contract and they don't re-sign him. So I would go offensive line here. As we see at number 19, Christian Darrisaw is right here. Why wouldn't they get a guy like that to help Tua Tagovailoa stay upright and complete some passes to Devontae Parker and Devonta Smith? It doesn't make much sense there. But number 19, Christian Darrisaw, he'll be great with Washington. They especially need to focus on the offensive line and re-sign Brandon Scherf. If they can get this offensive line working, they can get the rest of the offense working. The defense is already there. They could make a strong push in the NFC East if they can get offensive linemen like Christian Darrisaw. And Kadarius Toney, I think this makes perfect sense. They're going to need wide receiver for whoever's the quarterback in Chicago, and he's a big time wide receiver who's going to make big plays. He's a burner. He's like Henry Ruggs or Tyreek Hill a little bit, but you know what? I think that any quarterback that has this guy can make magic happen. So I really like Kadarius Toney to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, starting off at 16, we have J.C. Horn, and you know what? They have to replace Patrick Peterson, and who better than J.C. Horn right now? You saw Patrick Surtain go, you saw Caleb Farley go right in front of you. You got to make a play here, got to get the next best corner, and really shore up that back end of the defense. At number 17, Trevon Morig, he's really a deep ball safety. So with Jonathan Abram playing up in the box, it's going to allow them to play a lot more nickel defense. He's going to play a lot more center field, maybe cover three. Outside of that, it really makes me question if the Las Vegas Raiders really know what they're doing if they end up taking Trevon Morig here. I just don't truly understand the pick. But again, they also took Cleveland Farrell, number 4 overall, and we saw how that worked out. At number 18, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Owusu Koromoa, and I'm with you. I think he can be an absolute field general. He can play in the middle of the field if he really needed to, but he's not a great coverage linebacker. He is more of a downhill run stopping, big, thick back, and he's just really not gonna. He's not going to be that effective in the middle of the defense. I see him more on the outside, and like you said, with Landon Roberts and Kyle Van Noy, they already have that set. So I'm not really sure the Miami Dolphins want to go here. I like going offensive line as well, but at 19, the Washington football team feels the same way. They take Christian Darrisaw. They protect whoever the hell is going to be the quarterback next year. We have no idea. I mean, I don't even think they have a clue. Whether it's Taylor Heineke or Alex Smith or who knows. And then at number 20, you have Kadarius Toney. Allen Robinson's pretty much as good as gone. He hasn't even mentioned Chicago in anything that he's talked about. He's talked, with other teams and or thought about talking about other teams, but essentially it just looks like Kadarius Toney would be a perfect fit for them. Start building up that offense. All right, at number 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Greg Rousseau, defensive end out of Miami. At number 22, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Jalen Phillips, another defensive end out of Miami. Number 23, we have the New York Jets coming from Seattle. The Quiddy Pay, defensive end out of Michigan. 24, Pittsburgh Steelers take Landon Dickerson, center out of Alabama. And 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars coming from their trade with the Rams. Christian Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama.
Yeah, with Gregory Rousseau, I believe with the Indianapolis Colts, they have a lot of young guys, but they also have a lot of veterans. So I think they're still, even with Carson Wentz, they're still in a win now situation. You're not going to have this team forever, and you're not going to want a puzzle piece like Gregory Rousseau, who you're going to have to coach up for the next few years until he reaches his full potential. I would have drafted a guy like Quiddy Pay, who's already there, who's NFL ready, who can take over for some of the defensive ends that they're going to lose this offseason. So I like Quiddy Pay over Gregory Rousseau for the Colts for that specific reason. Jalen Phillips of the Titans, I think this is a perfect option for them. They need edge help terribly. They were one of the worst teams getting pressure on the quarterback last season, and Jalen Phillips is going to fill that hole. Quiddy Pay, if he falls to the Jets, him and Quinnen Williams will be absolutely dominant together. One of the best defensive lines in the NFL. It'll be up there with the Washington football team. I would really like to see that. That'd be really interesting. Landon Dickerson to the Steelers makes a lot of sense because they just lost their center and they need to replace Marquise Pouncey terribly if they want to compete. They only have Big Ben for another year or so, and they've got to shore up this offensive line. They've got other offensive line pieces moving around, so they've got to try to keep it together as much as possible. And then finally, Christian Barmore. I'm not sold on defensive tackle. I would have rather them gone defensive back or linebacker here just because they already have some pretty big pieces on that defensive line that they have drafted over the last few years. And I don't think this is a position of need over the other positions. So I would have gone after a guy like Nick Bolton or Zaven Collins or Asante Samuel Jr. in this position rather than a guy like Christian Barmore.
At 21, we have the Colts taking Rousseau. And listen, I just, you know what? I like the pick that they're going defensive end. You have Justin Houston, who's probably leaving in free agency. They might be able to retain him, but Greg Rousseau is a strict edge rusher. He's an incredible body build, and just his athleticism is going to work in your favor. He is going to be offset with the rest of that defense. I think that they are building for something in the future as well. So So it's kind of give and take. I could have seen Queedy Pay go here as well. I'm not unhappy with either one. At number 22, we have the Titans taking Jalen Phillips, who, don't forget, was a 5-star recruit going into college. And, he had some issues at UCLA and ended up transferring, and now he was at Miami. Overall, Jalen Phillips is an incredible talent, and he has been overlooked most times in his life. And this is another time where he's dropping where he probably shouldn't be. But overall, I love Jalen Phillips. The Tennessee Titans only got 19 total sacks last year as a team. 19. Jalen Phillips is going to be able to eat on this defense, and he's going to do really well. At number 23, we have the New York Jets getting Queedy Pay from Michigan, which is an incredible job to pair him next to Quinnen Williams. That this defense is going to be spectacular. This defensive line is going to be able to hold their own. Now they just have to build in back of them and hope all that stays afloat. At number 24, Landon Dickerson replacing Marquise Pouncey. Listen, you're never going to replace Marquise Pouncey. He is a potential Hall of Famer. He is an incredible talent at the center position. He was a perennial Pro Bowler and one of Big Ben's best friends on the team. You're not going to replace him, but Landon Dickerson is going to have to do, because you do need a center to play the game of football. I know, shocking. But I believe this is a perfect fit for the Steelers. At number 25, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle. He is arguably the most athletic defensive tackle. I don't know if you can actually put those words together. He is the most athletic defensive tackle in this draft. He really is. He's extremely quick with his feet. He's great with his hands. And while I understand that you're getting a lot of value with this pick, I'm with you. I wouldn't have even gone with a linebacker here. I would have gone with get Trevor Lawrence a weapon he's already used to. Get Terrace Marshall Jr. in the building. I think this would have been a perfect spot for him here. I believe that essentially they're going to have to try to make it so that Trevor Lawrence feels like he is going to be, he's going to be comfortable in this offense, and Terrace Marshall Jr. is going to do just that. At number 26, the Cleveland Browns are taking Zaven Collins, the outside linebacker from Tulsa. 27, the Baltimore Ravens take Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, who I just talked about. At number 28, the New Orleans Saints take Jason Oweh, defensive end out of Penn State. 29, the Green Bay Packers take Joe Tryon, outside linebacker from Washington. And at number 30, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State, the offensive tackle.
Why do the Browns have to break my heart? I absolutely love Zaven Collins. If you haven't already, please go watch Zaven Collins highlights. This guy is the most freakishly athletic linebacker I have ever seen. If you think Anthony Barr is athletic, if you think Jamie Collins is athletic, you haven't seen Zaven Collins. This guy might be the best linebacker when it's all said and done. He is freakish, and if the Browns get him, they're going to the AFC Championship game for sure next season. I really like this pick here, and I think it's going to work out very well. Terrace Marshall Jr. to the Ravens makes a lot of sense. They need a big body outside receiver that Lamar Jackson can work with. He doesn't really have weapons right now besides Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. Willie Snead has not worked out. He is going to be off the team pretty soon, so they need to get a big body like Terrace Marshall. Jason Oweh, this one doesn't make any sense to me at all, unless they think that they're going to be cutting Cameron Jordan at some point, because right now you have him and Trey Hendrickson, who are both Pro Bowlers last year. Why would you need another defensive end? There's only two ends. Why do you need a third? He can't play defensive tackle. I just don't understand what they're trying to do here. I would have tried to get some help on that offensive side of the ball. This team is going to be in a lot of trouble, so we don't know exactly where they're looking to make a move yet, but the Saints going defensive end makes the least sense here. Joe Tryon to the Packers makes a little bit of sense. I don't think he's the best edge rusher available at this point, but I think that he would work out. They need to settle that defensive line a little bit. That's where they've had a lot of weakness getting pressure on the quarterback. So I don't mind them going edge rusher here. And finally, Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, makes perfect sense because this offensive line was okay last season, but they need to get it to the next level so that Josh Allen can get even better. He's gotten better each year, and the only way he's going to get better from here is if they fix that offensive line.
Yeah, starting with 26, the Cleveland Browns getting quite possibly the steal of the draft, Zaven Collins. I love this guy too. I think he's incredibly athletic. He can run around sideline to sideline, up and down, northwest, any direction. You pull out a compass, he's running that way. He is the Nagurski Award winner. So, for those of you who don't know, Bronco Nagurski Trophy is honoring the nation's best defensive player in college football. He is the award winner. So, I mean, clearly, him falling to 26, he could end up being the steal of the draft. The Cleveland Browns get an absolute stud at this position. At 27, Terrace Marshall, you laid it out perfectly. The Baltimore Ravens need a big bodied receiver to opposite Hollywood Brown. Willie Snead just ain't that guy. They got Mark Andrews in the middle of the field, like we talked about earlier in the draft with Devonta Smith going to the Miami Dolphins. Terrace Marshall is going to provide that sort of 1-2 combination with Hollywood Brown for the Baltimore Ravens, possibly get them over the hump and maybe shut the haters up about Lamar Jackson not being able to win a playoff game. At number 28, we have Jason Owe. And you made a good point. They may have to cut Cameron Jordan this year because he might end up being a cap casualty. But Trey Hendrickson is a free agent and he could end up walking because of their cap situation. While they still remain about $70 million in the hole, uh, they're going to have to make some tough cuts on top of it. Drafting Jason Owe might be a way for them to just fill that void with a top pass rushing defensive end talent that they need to backfill some of this talent with rookies. And while he may not be Trey Hendrickson, he's going to be a body that knows what he's doing, and let's just try to get him in there. But at this point, they're kind of grasping just to hang on now. At 29, we have Joe Tryon. I'm not a big fan of this. This would be another year in a row where in the first round they are not getting help for Aaron Rodgers, the guy who brought them to the NFC Championship last year. If he has a weapon that he can depend on, I think that they quite possibly could have moved on to the Super Bowl. But now you're just working on the defensive side of the ball. You're not getting him another weapon. It's going to cause more frustration from the quarterback. He's going to want out, and then they're going to really see whether it's Aaron Rodgers or if it's Jordan Love. At number 30, Tevin Jenkins. This pick is completely dependent on the fact is can they retain Daryl Williams or not? Is he going to even stay in the league? Is he going to retire? Is he going to move somewhere else? It doesn't know. And then can Cody Ford kick out the tackle? Maybe you want to draft that Tevin Jenkins, huge body receiver, a huge body offensive tackle coming out of Oklahoma State. I love this guy's film. He stays really grounded and doesn't really get off of his feet too much. He's going to have to work on his footwork, but other than that, he's a really solid prospect at the offensive tackle position. At number 31, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Walker Little, offensive tackle from Stanford. And at number 32, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Azeez Ojulari, the outside linebacker slash defensive end out of the University of Georgia. Nick.
Yeah, I really like Walker Little here. Because they need to get more people on the offensive line, except they need to draft a guy by the name of Samuel Cosmi. Samuel Cosmi, arguably the best left tackle in this draft. Why is he still on the board? I don't get it. It's because he's from Texas and they don't win a lot, but they produce a lot of talent. So draft him instead. Walker Little, I have nothing against you, but offensive tackle is a good position for the Chiefs to draft. Just draft Samuel Cosmi. Azeez Ojulari to the Buccaneers makes a lot of sense just because he's going to have to replace Shaquille Barrett. And that's big shoes to fill, but he has JPP on the other side, so it's going to be a little bit easier. They're going to retain Levante David. He's not going to go anywhere. He's a Buccaneer lifer. And it looks like Chris Godwin is going to take whatever pay cut it takes to stay with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. He wants to win over getting paid. So it looks like they're going to have to replace Shaquille Barrett, and Azeez Ojulari is going to do just that.
Yeah, with the final two picks here, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Walker Little. I'm with you. There's no reason to take Walker Little when Sam Cosmi's still on the board. I know you yell from the heavens that Sam Cosmi is going to be one of the best offensive tackles coming out of this draft, but to do him dirty like this with Walker Little coming out of Stanford to the Chiefs, you know what? If Sam Cosmi goes to a division rival, I hope that the Chiefs take Walker Little and then they have to see Sam Cosmi twice a year. That's really what I hope at that point. And then at number 32, we have Azeez Ojulari going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shaq Barrett is on pace to get paid. He is a free agent. They're probably not going to be able to retain him, especially if they try to retain Chris Godwin. They got other veterans that are free agents they got to retain as well. It's going to take a whole hell of a lot to get him here. Azeez Ojulari is a very uh, athletic outside linebacker that's going to be able to rush the passer and play in pass coverage a little bit. So I like him here for the Buccaneers going to the defending champs. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.